First of all, I want to thank everyone. I am so sorry that I'm not there to make my comments in person. I would love to be there to be able to share with you my comments and my reflections on being a student at the law school at which Justice Ginsburg taught when I was in law school. So, first, let me just kind of tell you how I happened to get to Rutgers. I'm a child of I'd say the 60s of the civil rights movement. I was actually born in Arkansas, and my family ultimately moved to St. Louis. And I went to school in St. Louis Elementary School. When I graduated from high school, I was actually the first in my family to actually graduate from high school. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I had no idea about college. One of my neighbors was going to community college, Forest Park Community College, to register. And I thought, well, let me go with her. And I did. So I spent my first 2 years of my college career at a community college. I ultimately transferred to Southern Illinois University, where I have a degree in economics. And I graduated fairly high in my class, and I got a 100% scholarship to the University of Iowa School of Law, which was an excellent law school. I loved being at Iowa. But Iowa was pretty remote, and I had been an activist. I grew up being an activist. My dad became a minister, and he was a civil rights activist. So I really wanted to be somewhere where students were active and where professors were involved. And I had the occasion to spend time at Rutgers. And I had the time and the occasion to sit down and talk with the students about the things that were going on at Rutgers. And they all talked about this wonderful law professor who had done all of this with his civil liberties and who had sued the university, even though she was a faculty member there. And I actually had the opportunity to sit in on a session with Justice Ginsburg while I was visiting. I immediately put in my application. I transferred from the University of Iowa to Rutgers. I walked away from a 100% scholarship to be at Rutgers. It was an electric place, it was an exciting place. Once I got there, I had the opportunity, as most others did, so I can't say that I got any special treatment from Justice Ginsburg. But after class, she would sit and talk to us about things, and the things that she really talked about were the things that were really very special to her. So she was really more interested in women's rights. I had come out of the Black civil rights movement. I was really more interested in Black civil rights. I was actually interested in opening doors that had been closed to me because I was an African American. I had experienced Jim Crow, not being able to eat in a restaurant because I was Black, not being able to sit in the front of a movie theater because I was Black. So I was actually interested in those things. One of the first things she basically did in conversation with me and others, and I was not the only one at Rutgers who was there fresh out of the Black civil rights movement, is she actually began to talk to us about civil rights, about equal justice under the law. And she made us understand that if you were discriminated against, if you were oppressed, whether it was on the basis of race, whether it was on the basis of gender, that it was oppression. And until everybody had freedom and equality, nobody had it. So she was one of the first who made me really start thinking very broadly about this whole concept of oppression, about inequality, and about discrimination. She was small in stature, but she was brilliant. She was compassionate. She was courageous. She was fierce. She was tenacious. And she used all of those qualities to be an advocate for the things that she really felt very strongly about. And once she left education and, of course, went to the bench, you saw another side of Justice Ginsburg. I shouldn't say another side. You saw sort of a reinforcement of what we saw in the classroom and on the campus, whether it was her opinions or whether it was her dissents. She was still fighting for gender equality, say in the Virginia Military Institute case, where she was talking about single sex admission and discrimination on the basis of gender. And I, in particular, love what she wrote in Shelby County versus Holder although the Supreme Court gutted Section 4, Section 5, and those provisions on preclearance, she basically made us think about what had happened during the civil rights movement, what had happened on that Edmund Pettus Bridge, what had happened when people were fighting for the right to vote, and the fact that everybody should have the right to vote. And then we can look at her writings on Obamacare and other cases. I actually teach in an area of, I teach civil securities regulations, and I teach a course called Business Organizations and Corporations. A lot of people don't realize it, but Justice Ginsburg even took care of investors. She actually wrote a decision in a case that I now teach called O'Hagan, which had to do with insider trading. So she was looking to protect people no matter what the issue was. She was looking to basically bring out the best in all of us. And she was basically trying to make America live up to the words that are written in what I call the Declaration of Independence, which, the founders wrote, but didn't really mean at the time, and the Constitution, and everything else. She was one of a kind. And I simply hope that the next person who occupies the seat that she vacated because of her death has the same commitment to, as I said, equality, justice, for all. So thank you and enjoy the day.